Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. Today's video is going to be all about how you can turn your YouTube setup or your filming setup from something like this to something like this. Okay, so the first thing that we're going to want to deal with is obviously this light from the window behind me. It's clearly too bright outside, so the shot is extremely overexposed and it really doesn't look very good. So we're going to deal with that just simply by shutting over the blind to block out that daylight. Now that we close off that blind, as you can see, it's extremely dark in here, you probably can't even see me. But this starts us with a sort of clean plate. So now to start introducing some light back into the scene, first thing I'm going to do is grab one of my lights and create the key light for this setup. So this is our key light. I'm basically just going to have this at a slight 45-degree angle, just above where I'm sitting, and this is going to act as a nice soft large light source to light up my face and a little bit of the desk here. So you wouldn't want a harsh light here, so you do want to utilise a softbox or at least a little bit of diffusion to make the light nice and soft and for it to cover a nice large area. If you don't have a softbox or any kind of diffusion like this, then you can definitely just get something like a plain bed sheet, a white bed sheet, hang it up in front of the light, and that should soften the light up for you quite a bit. Placement here is quite key, so the more that I move it to the side of where I'm going to be sitting and the light's hitting from the side, the more dramatic the shot's going to look. Whereas if I move it sort of more to the front, at sort of like a slight angle, the light should just hug my face and give a bit more of like a pleasant look without really a harsh drop off on the other side of the face. Okay, so now that we've set up a key light that we're happy with, I'm then going to add a little bit of set decoration into the background. As you can see behind me, it's looking a little bit bare and a little bit uninteresting. So I'm going to add a few things just to kind of make that a little bit more interesting, give the audience a little bit something to look at instead of just some plain walls. So for the set decoration, we just have a few basic things. This can literally be anything. Good to pick some stuff that really goes with the theme of your video. So for me, I picked a few things like an old camera and some other camera equipment, and then just some ornaments and things like that to sort of make the set look a bit more natural, less like an actual set and more like you're just in your home. If at this point you're thinking that the room still looks a little bit too dark, I mean, I know there's a good light coming from the key light, but the sort of ambient light of the room's a little bit dark. I feel like the corners are a little bit too shadowy. If you want to bring that up, you might want to add another light and then just maybe bounce it off the ceiling to sort of give the room a little bit more of an ambient light source. That might brighten up the room a little bit and that could work for your shot. The room is just like a little bit too dark, especially in the sort of shadowy corners. So I'm going to put another light and just bounce it off the ceiling. I've got a white ceiling, so it should fill the room with a little bit more ambient light. Now, I'm starting to run out of mic stands, so I haven't actually got it on a mic stand. I've basically just got it tucked in behind the TV. You could put this on a chair or whatever you fancy, just somewhere so that you keep it pointing up the way. And that'll just bounce straight off the ceiling and it gives a little bit more ambient light to the whole of the room really. Okay, so now we're looking so much better, but I still want to add some practical light into the scene. If you don't know what practical lights are, they're basically lights that are actually in the shot, ones the audience can see. So they're not video lights like the ones that are lighting my face or anything like that. They're things like lamps, you know, candles, anything of that kind of nature that you're actually allowing the audience to see. So I'm just going to add in this small lamp I've got somewhere in the background and just see how that looks. Maybe it'll make the room look a little bit more interesting. Okay, so I've basically just placed this practical here behind some of the set decoration, and if you are using practical lights, a lot of the time the light source might be a little bit too bright. This is just a standard household bulb, so if I put it on, as you can see, that's really too bright and it's going to be too overexposed in our scene. So if you are using practical lights, you might want to get a dimmable light so you can control it a little bit better, so that it doesn't really blow out your shot in the backgrounds. So I don't have one of them right now, so all I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn the light slightly. I'm just going to basically bounce that off the wall. It kind of paints the wall with a little bit of light and it isn't so bright in the background of our shot, so I think that looks pretty nice. So now we've got that just slightly out of focus in the background, sort of painting the wall with light, and I think that adds a little bit more warmth into the room and overall makes things look a little bit nicer. So I have noticed that the right side of my face is just a little bit too dark and still a little bit too shadowy, as there's really no light coming in from this side. Okay, so to add a little bit of bounce back into the shot, fill in a little bit of those shadows, I'm basically just going to grab a bit of white bounce board. It's just a white bit of material. And as I said, I don't really have any more mic stands, so I'm just going to lean this on the desk pretty much. Just about there, slightly off frame, and that should fill in some of the shadows and give us a little bit of a nicer shot. As you can see, that fills in a little bit of the shadows on the right hand side of my face and just balances things out a little bit more. So I think we're looking pretty great now. The last thing I'd maybe want to do is add a little bit of hair light, sort of hitting my shoulder just to exaggerate the lighting that's coming from that practical lamp over there. So for this hair light, I'm just going to position this Aperture MC. I've made it pretty tungsten to mimic the light behind us. I'm just going to screw this onto a basic mic stand, and I don't really have much space in the shot, so I'm just going to angle it just slightly off to my right where I'm going to be sitting, and this should give us a nice soft light on my shoulder and give you the sort of finishing touch to the shot. If you do have some extra lights like this MC that I'm using and it's RGB, you might want to pick a colour that fits your sort of style and move it into somewhere in the frame just to give a sort of unique, stylish look to the shot. So that's it for the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you like this lighting setup and you can take some of these tips and apply them to your YouTube setup, or just if you're filming an interview or anything and you want to make it a little bit more interesting. I hope this helps. Now, I quite like this shot and I'd love to be able to use something like this for all my YouTube videos, but unfortunately I film these in my bedroom and there's limited space, and I'm going to show you a few clips from sort of behind the scenes of what my room looks like right now. Everything is all over the place and I couldn't really live like this, so I have to have the desk in more of a practical area. But if I moved it to a studio or I had a different room where I shot my YouTube videos, I would definitely set something like this up because I think it looks pretty nice. If you did enjoy the video, consider leaving it a like. It really does help the channel grow a little bit and gets the videos out there. And if you like this sort of thing, then consider subscribing to the channel as well. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'll see you guys in the next one. It's going to take me so long to put this room back together.